InterCellar is the platform that is revolutionizing the wine and spirit market. By 2031, it will be a 400 billion euros market, but this market is struggling. And with InterCellar, we are simply solving three major issues in the industry: the storage, the traceability, and the liquidity. You have a digital twin of the bottle on your smartphone or your laptop, and the physical bottle remain at the same place. You can trade, you can exchange the digital twin, it's an NFT, and every bottle is backed by physical assets.
And it's on the blockchain, so there's what we call provenance, right?
This is exactly the term. We put in contact the wineries, the whiskey brands, directly to the consumers, which is something very new. So when you buy a wine from InterCellar, you are 100% sure that it's a real one and that it was stored properly. This is the next gen experience. You can touch the 3D bottles. You'll have the possibility to customize your 3D modelization of your cellar. It's a world experience.
What do you think InterCellar looks like in 5 years' time?
In 2030, we have 10 or 15,000 of wineries, and they are just using the platform because this is normal. Oh, you're not listed on InterCellar. Why not? I don't understand. Like when you are renting your flat, you're using Airbnb, like it's just normal. Our goal is to become the first unicorn in the wine and spirit industry.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
The world is changing. Inspiration is everywhere. It has never been so easy to connect, share, and bring people together. We're learning from others and finding the best in ourselves. Challenging our beliefs. Sharing our vulnerability. Overcoming our fears. Transforming ourselves so we can transform the world. How far can we go?
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is... This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Louis de Bonnecaze, the entrepreneur, blockchain innovator, and wine merchant. You have become one of France's leading voices in the world of wine and spirits by blending industry expertise with digital innovation. You are the CEO and co-founder of InterCellar, a next-generation Web3 marketplace designed for the acquisition and exchange of exclusive bottles of wines and spirits. InterCellar offers wineries and luxury brands the opportunity to share their rich history and products with a younger, digital native audience while building direct relationships with consumers. You believe blockchain technology is a game changer for the wine and spirits industry, allowing brands to regain visibility, improve their supply chain, and guarantee the authenticity of their products. Your goal is to become the first Web3 unicorn in the wine and spirits sector by transforming this age-old industry into a digitally empowered ecosystem. Louis, welcome to London Real.
Hello, Brian.
Great to have you here. I want to start by saying that InterCellar is one of our portfolio companies here at London Real Ventures, the world's first media-powered investment firm, where our mission is to transform the world by investing in cutting-edge Web3 and AI companies while giving our partners media exposure and marketing across all of our academies. We heighten awareness, create customers, and build communities by leveraging our global audience and extensive network. Louis, we are super excited to be part of this journey with you. So let's jump in. What is InterCellar?
Thank you for the introduction, and I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for inviting us and for your trust. So, as you said, InterCellar is the platform that is revolutionizing a century-old market that everyone knows, the wine and spirit market. And it's not only like a century-old market, it's also a global and a huge market. By 2031, it will be like a 400 billion euros market. So it's like in France, for example, it's the second biggest export market after aeronautics. But this market is struggling. When I'm traveling around the world, because it's my job, and it used to be my job for 10 years as a wine merchant, I'm just talking with the wineries, with the brands, and they're always saying like, we're in a crisis, we don't know how to reach a new generation. And they have like three major issues in their industry. The storage, because wine and spirits takes place. The traceability, because there are counterfeits in this industry. And the liquidity, because wine, for example, is an alternative asset, and it's called the red gold. And with InterCellar, we are simply solving those issues by creating digital twins of the bottles. So it's, in a way, we embody the real world asset tokenization, because everyone is talking about real world asset tokenization, but there are no like tangible and use case, because there are like some RWA project in the finance, for example, but not for tangible things. And this is what InterCellar is doing. And the platform is running very well, and that's why the best wineries and brands in the world are trusting us. So we already onboarded like hundreds of wineries to gather them with the 10,000 customers. And as you said, our goal is to become the first unicorn in the wine and spirit industry, and it has to be a French company, because the two biggest companies in the world for wine and spirit are French. We have the best wines like Bordeaux, Burgundy, some of the best spirits also like cognac, and also champagne. So this is our ambition, and I'm very glad to be here to talk about it with you, and to talk about InterCellar, the background, and how we are going to revolutionize the wine and spirit industry.
Yeah, it's such an exciting prospect, because there's so much history and tradition, in France when it comes to wines, and you're world renowned for these brands. And like you said, even some of the spirits, people all over the world, in China and these places, they seek out these amazing pieces. Yeah. But on the flip side, it's an industry that a lot of times hasn't innovated much in a couple hundred years, and let alone understood digital marketing, let alone understood Web3. And so they struggle with a lot of these issues. You said the three biggest ones, what you said, storage, authenticity, and liquidity.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are powerful. And also they don't know how to reach those new buyers, because I guess every year your older customers die, and you have to get younger people to take their place. Yeah. And if they grew up on, Bacardi spritzers or something, how are they going to learn about wines?
And there is that trend like of to quit drinking, like quit smoking, but smoking is not the same, because there is no like this culture about smoking. I'm not talking about cigars, I'm talking about cigarettes. Yeah. But for the wine, it's kind of the same. Sometimes people say, you have to drink less, which is a good point. But our motto is like, you have to drink less, but to drink better.
Right.
And it's not only about drinking some alcohol. We were talking about this a little bit before, but it's more like culture about a moment that you are sharing with someone else. I like to say that wine is the social lubricant. So it will help you in a way. I'm not making the promotion of alcohol, but it's like the global moment. You're sharing something. You can do business, you can do friendship. Wine and spirits, if you see the movies, they're always like for love, women in love, or men in love, like in James Bond, there is always in seduction a shoot like a bottle of champagne, a vodka martini or something. In the friendship, it's also the case, and in the business, you share a bottle and then you make some business. This is how I'm doing business. Yeah.
Right, right. Very traditional in that sense. And you said this before, because I said, look, I stopped drinking 7 years ago, and you said, wine is not drinking, right? It's like accentuating an occasion, and I think the French do it much better than the British do, for sure, where, the wine can be drank in small amounts and paired with food, and always for a certain occasion. You have your white wine sometimes, your red wine, your spirits, your champagne, all for different times, different places, different foods, different occasions.
Yeah, but I don't agree with you, because English are very mature in terms of market. When you are dealing with wines, you have to categorize your markets. There are some mature markets, like Japan, like England. UK is a mature market. You know how to do pairings, you know the wine, you know the prices. Yeah. And there are like new markets, like China used to be like 10 years ago. It's evolving now. But yes, there are different kind of seeing the wine first. You see it as a social marker. So you buy the big labels. You want to show to your friends that you are someone. So it's also something to show. A flex tool in a way that Chinese are using a lot. But after that, it becomes something else, like sharing moments. You are going to discover this wine that you don't know, and there is a story behind. So it's something like a way. Yeah, there is a way to drink wine and to appreciate it.
Yeah, and again, I used to drink wine and collect wine, and I went down the rabbit hole, and I would travel to Europe and go to the vineyards and meet people and learn how it was made. I mean, it's fascinating.
You don't have to drink it. You can spit the wine. This is something that I'm doing because, as a wine merchant, I'm tasting a lot of wines, especially in April. There is like what we call en primeur. You have all the professionals of the wine industry that are coming to Bordeaux, where I'm living, and where the company InterCellar is based. It's important because we are in France. Yes. And you can taste like hundreds of wine per day. So you have to spit, of course. And you can feel the aromas. You can, just feel the vineyard, and experience the wine in another way. But of course, at the end, normally it has to be drunk.
Right, but you can spit it and still get a lot of great enjoyment out of it. Yeah. And so you just said something interesting. This company, in your opinion, has to be based in France, and even more specifically, has to be based in Bordeaux, and has to be headed by a Frenchman. Tell me why that's important. Why can't this be done by some tech geek in Ohio who bought, some ETH back in 2016 and wants to put it on chain? I'm sure that's been attempted before.
No. Yeah, of course. So it has to be in France, but that was not the case before, because. For example, if you're asking me which is the biggest place for wine trading, this is not France, this is here. London is one of the biggest places, with Hong Kong, of course, and France in a way. But the wine industry, the big platform, the big hub is more in London. So that's why I'm saying that, okay, we're not going to miss this revolution. That company has to be in France because, as I introduced, we have the best wine in the world. Of course, there are some amazing wines in the Napa Valley, in the US, in Italy, of course, in Spain, even in China, they have some good terroir. It needs to be in France because we are in the heart of the biggest appellation, big names, all the big chateaux are owned by Frenchmen or French big companies in the luxury industry, like LVMH. We are working with them, like Kering also. They own all these chateaux. So it's not only like a standard product. It's a part of French culture, and we are very proud of it.
Let's talk about one of these problems with this authenticity. I read something somewhere that said if you take a bottle of Petrus, which I guess is one of the fine Premier Cru, maybe you can tell me exactly. You said in China, 60 to 70% of those bottles are fake. I think you said in an interview one time. And I was like, wow, is it really that high? Is this really such an issue? Can you talk to me about counterfeit wine and, how you're going to solve that problem, whether you're a collector or a consumer? Yeah. Because it's big business, right? These are expensive bottles of wine. And if you can copy those, then you can probably make a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it's natural when you have a high value product that it's copied. I mean, it's the same for watches, it's the same for all other luxury products. Yeah. For the wine industry, when you are talking about like Petrus or Romanée Conti, it's like 10,000 euros bottles. Of course, they are fakes. And yeah, in general, globally, it's like 30% of these big bottles that are fake in the world. And if you take the example of China, it's around 60 to 70%.
Wow.
And there was like a lot of, there was that guy, Rudy Kurniawan. It was the biggest faker, wine faker. I don't know if we can say faker.
Yeah.
He faked wines.
Okay.
It was like a 35 million euros scam. And he was, in a way, smart because he was using like some good wines. He was buying some empty bottles on the secondary market, filling them with some good wines. Because, to make the difference between a 5 euro bottle and a 100 euro bottle is very easy. But between a 100 euro bottle and a 1,000, 10,000, it's not so easy because it's more about scarcity, about sometimes marketing. And yeah, he made like this big scam. So there are some issues. And how with InterCellar we are solving this problem is very simple. First, we are putting in contact, we put in contact the wineries or the brands, the whiskey brands, directly to the consumers, which is something very new, because in this industry there are a lot of intermediaries. There are some counterexamples. For example, if you go to Louis Vuitton, if you go to Bentley, if you go to Rolex, you are in direct contact with the winery, with the brand. Sorry.
Yeah.
In the winery, in the wine, this is not the case. So we gather the customer and the winery first, and then we create digital twins. So every bottle of wine, I can now explain exactly how it's working. You go on the platform, and then you buy a bottle, like on any other website, and then you have a digital twin of the bottle on your smartphone or on your laptop, and the physical bottle remain at the same place in like a big Fort Knox of the wine, and then it's not moving. You can trade, you can exchange the digital twin. It's an NFT. And every bottle is backed by a physical asset. So we linked them to fight against counterfeit. So when you buy a wine from InterCellar, you are 100% sure that it's a real one and that it was stored properly, which is the second biggest issue.
Yeah. Now, you gave a demo of the site when you had your call with our group, and it was impressive. First of all, it was very cool. You have these three-dimensional wine bottles that are spinning around, and you can get a vibe for what it's like. But that digital twin is interesting for a variety of reasons. We can talk about it later, but it also means I can show off my portfolio. I can flex it. Maybe I just want to look at it at home on a Friday night when I'm alone. I just want to look at my portfolio. But like you said, that digital twin can follow me around, and I always know that it's being stored securely somewhere else. And whether I see it in 10 years or not, whether I trade it with someone else, that is something brand new that you're bringing to the space.
Yeah.
And it's on the blockchain, so there's what we call provenance, right? And you can really prove that history, and that's really powerful.
This is exactly the term, provenance. It's like, it's like for Pokemon cards, when they are under blister, they have more value. So when you are sure that the Pokemon card, they are less fragile than wine, because wine, there are like some temperature, some humidity control that you have to manage. And when you do it at home, it's not so easy. So we take part of all the storage part. And if you want, of course, to drink the bottle, you claim the bottle on the platform. But if you decide to transfer to resale, because wine and spirit are kind of an investment, you can do it also. And the bottle remain at the same place.
That's amazing. And I think you said if you look at one of these premier cru wineries, a lot of times it's traded 6 and 7 times before it's actually drank. And I'm guessing the higher end, maybe it's even longer. Yeah. Because sometimes it's 10, 20, 30 years even.
Even more. Yeah, it depends on the wine. But at that point, I can tell you a story about why billionaires are buying wineries. When you are like a millionaire, I don't know, I'm not yet a millionaire. I would like to be one time, but it's not my main goal. But I know that those kind of people, millionaires, they are buying like a bar or restaurant to see friends, to share some moments. When you are a billionaire, it's something different. You buy a winery, a prestigious one, but not only for having your own bottle of wine. It's also because you put your background and your history inside a bottle. It's like a time capsule, and it will you can live longer with it. So because a bottle of wine, it was the beginning of the discussion, can age like for 20, 30, 50 or even 100 years, and you can drink it after. Depends on the wine, but all the wine that you can find on the platform that we are working with, like Mouton Rothschild, like Chateau Margaux, all these big brands, they can last like 100 years.
Wow. And the storage, do you have locations different places in the world? Is it in France? Because that's not an easy thing to do. How do you solve that problem?
So for now, we are having like a big warehouse in Bordeaux at the same place, so we can keep the storage safe. It's like, a big Fort Knox of the wine. There are like millions and millions of euros stored in that place. It's insured, stored in pristine conditions. But of course, as we are delivering in more than 40 countries, in the roadmap, of course, there will be some new warehouse around the globe on the major markets, which are Asia and the US.
Right. Okay, that's fantastic. I had a flashback. I used to buy wine and I used to kind of store wine in my house. And I remember one summer in England, it got really hot. It was like 40 degrees. Yeah. And I came back after a holiday and I went and my wine was all warm. I remember I could feel it and I thought...
Became vinegar.
Yeah, and so this is a real issue and you never know how that bottle's been stored. So it could be a 10,000 euro bottle, but if it's been stored poorly, it's going to be vinegar. So
you can expertise a bottle and say, okay, it's a real one, but what happened inside, you cannot know.
Right.
And warm is probably the biggest enemy of the wine. Cold is not so good. But warm and hot weather is not good. And the worst is like the difference of temperature. When you have like from cold to hot, the wine will be killed. For spirits like whiskey, cognac, it's not exactly the case. It's more strong, but it's kind of the same, but not in the same way.
Okay. All right. So those are the two issues. The third is liquidity. Now this is interesting. And this is a term, it's more of a Wall Street term, of liquidity. And again, I have a crypto and DeFi academy and I tried to define that term. I guess I would define liquidity as how quickly and easily and losslessly you can convert an asset to, and maybe something equivalent in value. Maybe that is euros or pounds or dollars.
Yeah.
And how quickly, and what's that?
Or crypto.
Or crypto, exactly. Yeah, so why is liquidity important in wine? Because a lot of people don't even understand that concept. They're just like, I want to store it, I want to drink it. Why is that important?
I would not say that it's only liquidity, because it's also about transmission. Because a wine, as you told at the beginning, can be traded like 6 to 7 times before being drunk, because it's like an alternative asset. If you take the top 50 best wine in the world, you can have like a return on investment of 6 to 7% a year. So it's kind of a good investment.
Yeah.
For the spirit, it can be even more, like 15% for some of the best Irish whiskey. But it's also like a pleasure investment. And in a way, I like to say that it's a very tricky investment, because I think this is the only one that you can consume. You cannot eat a gold bar or another asset.
Or a Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really a different asset, but it's an asset, as it's like a high value, and there are some liquidity, but not so much. And what we are doing through the digital twin, the NFT, is to facilitate this transmission. So of course you can trade. Liquidity means that I can trade, but you can also offer, to someone else. We have a lot of companies that are offering some wines to their best employees, to their customers. And it's very easier when you just offer, when you transfer an NFT to a wallet. And then we onboard the customer of our customers. So it's like a good way. So liquidity is about how I can easily give my bottle, but not without all the constraint, like the storage. Because when you give a bottle to someone, you say, okay, that's great, but what I'm going to do with it? And even if you have a bottle offered from someone else, like a Petrus, for example, if you want to resell it, how can you do that? On eBay or I don't know? Of course it's possible, but it's not easy, because in front of you, you will have a buyer that will say, okay, how was it stored? Is it a real one? So liquidity is linked also to the storage and to the traceability.
Okay. And right now, it doesn't really exist in the wine industry, a decent amount of liquidity.
No. It's not the case right now, because the market is organized with like big negotiants, and they are dealing in the old-fashioned way. So I think that we have one of the perfect use case for real world asset tokenization, because we have high value assets. We have an asset that can age with time, so with a notion of storage. And we have also something very easy to market. And social media, they have a big place in our business, because it's not, you can do some great wine or spirit, because it's like the terroir or the climate that you have. But you have to sell it. It's like a business. So you need marketing, social media. So it's like InterCellar is like doing all the same on the same platform.
Right. I love this concept of being able to give somebody a bottle of wine without having to go shop for it, buy it, hand it to them. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to store it. They take it home. They stick it in the closet.
Yeah.
But if it's on the website, they got the digital twin there. They can see it. They can feel it. They can touch it. They can share it on social media.
Yeah.
And so I guess this is my next question. Why Web3? When you looked at this business, why was it such an obvious choice it had to be Web3 and not just a tech solution?
You know, it's a little bit about a story, because so I used to be a wine merchant for 10 years. I was young, I was starting traveling around the world, and it was very difficult for me to sell wine because we all have the same distribution. It means that the negociants, they have an allocation. So for example, I don't know, a chateau like Chateau Margaux, they give allocation to a negociant. So I give you 10 Ks, I give you 20 Ks, I give you 100 Ks, and we have the same product to sell. Right. So it was not easy for a young man to sell it. And I traveled, it was in 2017. At the same time, I bought some Bitcoin myself. I bought my first Bitcoin like mid-2017, and I made some money.
I joined the investment club because we are in the biggest wealth transfer in history. The investment thesis here is we believe that early stage Web3, metaverse and AI investments represent the hottest opportunities on the planet. I've been financially burned in this space, lost a lot of money through lack of education and investing in the wrong people, most of them were scams. But I still believe in blockchain and I still believe in the crypto space, thanks to the investment club. Now, 5 weeks in, I've invested in 10 deals in the investment club. They do all the due diligence and research for the community by bringing the best deal flow that we would never have access to. When you join, you just don't become a member. You become a part of a big family. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. You will never find a more genuine person like Brian. He is so transparent and passionate at bringing wealth to the masses through blockchain technology. Thank you, Brian. It's a pleasure.
So I knew that there were some people wealthy in cryptocurrency. And at that time I was in China, and one of my importer introduced me like a very rich guy, saying, okay, you have to share a moment with him and so on. So we've been to the restaurant, and I drank my first Petrus with him. So it's like, I don't know, in China it could be like 10,000 euro a bottle. So I don't have, I can't offer myself those kind of bottles. So I was drinking it with him in the Chinese way. Like one shot, like drink, yeah, kanbei, drink it like this. So
one shot means like you finish the glass each time?
Yeah, the glass, not the bottle, but yeah.
The glass? Okay,
yeah.
So you don't take your time.
Yeah, which is like kind of tricky, but anyway, I said, okay, I'm in
right.
China.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do. When in China, do as the Chinese do.
Yeah, we just deserve, and let's do it. But anyway, and at the end of the restaurant, I've been to that guy privately saying, okay, what do you do for a living? And he said, and I had my ID in my mind because I was buying Bitcoin at the same time.
Right.
And he said I was one of the first miners of Bitcoin. Okay. And that guy was very wealthy. And I was sure of two things. The first is that my investment were a good investment. I still keep my Bitcoins right now. And the second thing is that, okay, my future consumers are from the tech and the Web3. At that time, we were not talking about Web3. And that's why I started my journey between the wine industry, very old-fashioned, and the tech. And then I saw all the issues that I can solve with the NFT, with everything like this.
Okay. Fascinating. I love that story. That's super cool. And so you found your niche, which was this younger, tech-savvy, crypto-knowledgeable people, and you thought, okay, that's who I'm going to sell to. That's who I'm going to focus on for this future of wine. And that's what you're doing with InterCellar.
Yeah, because in a way, I'm fond of science fiction. And if you see like the dystopic movies, at the end, when the machine get the power, just before, it was like the developers that are leading the world. So I said in my mind, okay, the future buyers are not from the old industries, they are from tech. So, and I am selling high range wine. It's not only luxury, but it's high range wine and spirits. So that's why, I started to make my business with those kind of guys. But for now, we are not reaching very, very wealthy people. We are also in InterCellar opening the investment with like 50 euros bottles, because you can make money or make a good consumption cellar with 50 euros bottles. So it's not only luxury.
Okay. Let's talk about the importance of a direct relationship between a vineyard or a spirit maker and the customer, because this is interesting. In the wine business, you said it doesn't really exist because they usually sell to people who distribute, etc. But not having that knowledge really hurts them. Now, look at a Louis Vuitton or look at some of these other brands. They actually embraced NFTs and Web3. I think they embraced it because they want to have that individual relationship with the customer. You don't sell them one Bentley, you sell them 10 Bentleys over the lifetime, and then you sell the family Bentleys. Yeah. And so you're offering that direct consumer information to the vineyard. And in Web3, that information is gold. Exactly. Because it's 10 times better, 100 times better than anything in Web2. Because in that wallet, you might see every single bottle of wine as an NFT digital twin. You might see the history. You might see there's $2 million of Bitcoin in that wallet. How do you quantify the value there? How do you explain that to vineyards?
At the beginning, it was very hard because they were saying, okay, you want to make some digital twins to sell in cryptocurrency. So we had to change a little bit the speech, and the platform was evolving at that time. We were accepting also fiat currency, like credit cards. Yeah. That's very important. But when they saw that we are solving also their problems, that is to say, the data, the visibility on their distribution, they said, okay, let's have a meeting. And now we are onboarding like hundreds of them. And what they are looking for, as you said, is data. And I think it's even more the case for wine or for like a product that is from the heart, because they are in a way, they are, harvesting the grape. So it's like they are growing something like very special for us, for them. So they need to know where the wine or the spirit is drunk. And we are offering through the platform. So they have like a subscription, this data, and it's very important. And also they need to reach some new customers. Yeah. And in InterCellar, we are solving the problem, as we said, and we are also having like a new user experience, because the customer of tomorrow, not only in the wine industry, also in all the industry, and especially when you buy something expensive on internet, you need a whole experience. So that's why we're integrating like 3D bottles. You can touch the bottles. We are going to have like a token. We can talk about it later. And then a kind of 3D modelization of your cellar. So you can have the visibility, as you said at the beginning, you can flex. Oh, this is my wine cellar. These are my bottles. I can customize my wine cellar. So this is also important. And this is how we are reaching new customers, which is the biggest point also for the wineries and the whiskey brands.
Yeah, the digital wine cellar flex is an interesting concept. Kind of like my virtual metaverse wine cellar. And I think you allow people to build one. You allow people to even customize the wine cellar and dress it up and make it look really cool. Yeah. Because we really noticed this with NFTs in 21. We noticed that not only people wanted to own the CryptoPunk, but if they could show the world they just spent $1 million on a rock or a punk. Yeah. It was, I used to tell people, it's no longer about the Lamborghini. It's about the picture of the Lamborghini on Instagram. That's more important than a Lamborghini in the garage. Yeah. And some people say that's silly, but it's like, that's the new world. And a lot of people want to show their collections to people. And you're giving people an amazing opportunity to do that with that virtual cellar. What do you call it? Something like that.
Yeah, virtual cellar. It's a digital cellar. Right. It's not a metaverse, because I don't trust like people working in like a big world. Not in our industry, but it's more like a microverse. So it's a small place that you can design. You can spend your token. It's one of the utility to customize it. And then, yes, you can flex, because in our customers, we have different kind of customers. We have like the the strong believers in the wine, so they are just using the platform because they need traceability. But you also have some people that needs to show that they are like new rich. Yeah. So yeah, we want to satisfy all the kind of customers.
So I used to work in banking in the city, and we would go to dinner a lot. And we would order big bottles of wine. Mm-hmm. And that's probably why London is one of your big markets here. Okay? Yeah. Because we have a lot of money in this city. And so it's interesting because the process of ordering a bottle of wine at an important business dinner is a mini flex in itself. Like you're flexing in front of people. You're telling people what you had the night before. You're telling them the sommelier who you are.
Yeah.
So that's like an important thing to do. And a lot of people do want to talk about the wines they drink or show the wines they drink. And this is another way of doing that.
Yeah, but sometimes it's too much, you can be like afraid of this world. Like, oh, okay, I don't know so much about the wine, so I'm not going to buy a wine because I don't want to go to the wine cellar or the restaurant. I don't want to talk too much because I don't know. And this is also something that is wrong with this industry. It's like something too difficult for people to understand. Okay. So we are trying in a way also to desacralize a little bit the access to the big bottles, because it's only like it's only wine. It's not like something so important.
It's just important. Grape juice, right?
Yeah. This is just a moment that you have to share. So we want to give people access to this wine if they have, because you have a lot of people, they have enough money to buy some great wines they want to drink, but they're like a little bit shy. They don't want to go, and so that's something also that we are trying to. In terms of tech, we are trying to onboard most of the people, like it's mass adoption, and all the people are understanding blockchain through our use case, because it's easy. Oh, okay, it's bottle, and in a way it's good. And also, so we onboard Web3 people to the wine, and we also onboard wine people to the Web3.
I love it. And I saw a demo of your site, and something made me so happy. When you go to checkout, you can pay with a credit card or with stable coins. And it just put a smile on my face, because you just don't see that very often.
Yeah.
And it's just really refreshing.
It's one of the main challenge, because mass adoption, as I was saying, is something very important, because if you only stay in the Web3 with gaming cards, video games, it's like a niche. So we need some tangible product to show the world that the blockchain is very useful for tangible industries. And this is something very important for us. So as you said, we're accepting cryptocurrency, but also regular currency, fiat currency. We don't talk too much about NFT. As you may see, I'm just using digital twin.
Yeah.
So we are accepting to log with an email address, not only with a MetaMask or something. So in a way, we're trying to avoid being so complex.
Yeah.
It's like internet. Today, people, they are using internet. They don't give a shit about the technology behind, or HTML, CSS. They don't mind. They just want it to be intuitive. So in a way, we are trying to do the same.
Yeah, it's super important. You mentioned, I think before, that about 60 to 63% of your revenue is probably going to be B2B revenue, and the other revenue being B2C revenue. So you're thinking both sides, really. One is to satisfy the customer, and one is to satisfy the businesses.
Yeah, this is how we are revolutionizing the industry, by only being like a platform to gather the brands and the consumers. So we take some profits from both of them, and it's like a balance, because the more we have wineries and brands, the more we have customers, because the customers are looking for exclusivity, exclusive products. And the more we have customers, the more we have brands, because they are looking for new customers. So it's something that we have to balance. And of course, we take some profit on both of them, because you have, like, from the brand side, a subscription fee to access the data. And also we take, of course, on the primary market, a percentage. And from the consumer side, they spend money on the storage, because we don't take the storage in charge. And they also spend the money on the platform, of course. And we make revenue also on the digital seller and so on.
It's a beautiful model. I like that. Let's talk about real world assets. Okay, This is one of the big narratives right now in Web3. And we believe this bull run is going to be even bigger. But I've been looking at RWA plays for the last 2 years, and a lot of times it's a lot of talk, and more talk and less assets. and people don't really know what they can tokenize, like you said. Now, everybody has a story that maybe one building they tokenized, but there's not a lot of buildings. They're doing some securities tokenization, and BlackRock is doing this, and Franklin Templeton is doing that. But those are, tokenizing government bonds and things like that.
Yeah.
And then there's a few people trying to do the same with art, but there hasn't really been a breakthrough of mass quantity, and not only real world assets, but real value, real applications of tokenizing those assets. And you think that you're going to be one of the first to do it, and it's going to be through wines.
Yeah, I guess so because, as you said, you can tokenize almost everything. And that was like the trend, like, okay, I'm tokenizing it, I'm tokenizing the real estate, I'm tokenizing. And what I trust is that if you fractionalize, like in the real estate, sometimes with art, you don't have the final process of the purchase, because in the wine industry we could have fractionalized a bottle, for example, like, I don't know, 10,000 euro bottle. You fractionalize with 10 people, but the fact is that our product needs to be consumed at the end. So if you have 9 people that agree to sell or to drink the wine together, it's complex. And if you just have one that say okay, no, it's like a problem. So I trust in an asset that you can tokenize in a wall. Like, we tokenize an item that you can get delivered. Okay. So, and the wine industry is a perfect use case for all the reason that I mentioned before. So we really trust that we have something in mind, and we trust that, when we are meeting people, this is something that talks to people. Like in all the different background that I'm visiting, like it can be a doctor, it can be someone in the business. Everyone knows about the wine and the spirits, so it's a case that is talking to people.
It's like the perfect case for RWA, isn't it? Because you said each individual bottle can be significant. You couldn't really, turn, Coca-Cola into RWAs because, the value of each one is so small. But since wine has a significant value, it's something everyone knows, it's something that's consumable, and at the end of the day has a half-life. It's really one of the perfect examples, right?
Yeah, and it's not a niche market, because some people sometimes said, okay, it's a niche market, but it's a huge market.
Right.
In France it's bigger than, so I said it's just below aeronautics, but it's before cosmetics. So for example, L'Oréal, all the big groups, they are like under the wine and spirit industry in France. And the market is huge in the US, the market is huge in all the countries. So I think we are participating in a way with the mass adoption of the blockchain. And this is why also not only our investors, because we raised 3 million euros through some big companies, big business angels like Swissborg, like some founders of Ledger, Sandbox, the biggest casino group in France, Partouche Casino Group, some vineyards. But not only that, it's also because we have the government that is trusting our business model, and we have some help, some subvention. So that's why it was also important to be in France. But we have something. We are revolutionizing our industry, and we really trust, and this is our ambition, that we will be a unicorn. Yeah.
Do you think one day you might fractionalize bottles? There might be like a fund, or maybe in the future, though, you might fractionalize some really high-end bottles and allow people to own a piece of it, or not?
It's not something that we want to do, because as I told you, it's an investment, but it's not only an investment. We need people to drink the wine at the end, because it's a product that needs to be shared, not only to put in a cellar, and also because this is what the wineries want. Right. If you say, okay, it's going to be fractionalized and people are not going to drink it, it's like terrible for them. So no, it's important that, but of course there are a lot of different applications. We can tokenize barrels, we can tokenize vines. We could do some big things, but step by step. We're starting with the bottles, and then we will see after.
Yeah, the problem with Web3 is they usually put the tech before the innovation. They put the tech before the demand, and sometimes they go and try to do all these crazy things before anybody really wants it. So it's good not to get distracted with things that aren't applicable. Talk to me about the token, because the beauty of Web3 is that you can introduce a token. Of course, you don't want to introduce a token unless it has real utility. So can you talk about that And even if some vineyards are listening here, can you explain like what is that token and how that works?
So we are talking about Web3, and I think that there are a lot of similarities between the Web3 and the wine industry, and especially the fact that this is kind of a community. When you know the power of community in the Web3, but there is a real community in the wine industry. It's still a club. It's like
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.